Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the seventh broadcast we're doing here. Yeah, 7. I hope you're all well. What an odd week. If you've had an odd week, put in that chat and say an odd week. For those who join us for the first time, hi, I'm Simon, Ableton certified trainer and lover of Ableton Live and many, many genres of music. And this is all about making music. We invite people onto the show, and whoa, what's your levels, Tim? Banging through then. It's really loud, that. So yeah, I'm joined by Tim. I'll introduce him in a second. And we do this together, and as I said, yeah, all different styles of music, and it's just all about making music and sharing ideas and just trying new things with all this crazy technology. So without further ado, let me introduce Tim, who should be on this. And yeah, you're nice and loud, Tim.
Am I really? Do
Yeah,
I need to turn
I
down?
think it was because you put something down. It went.
It was me wafting a bit of stray cat hair off my keyboard.
Wow.
I don't know
I
if
mean, I
anyone's
think
noticed, but they're like the regular visitors to this area on my account.
Well, my dog's got a ban. You know what I mean? He's been banned. So
With cats, it doesn't matter how many times you ban them; they'll still be back up there.
Wow.
Anyway, hello everybody. You all right? How we doing?
yeah, I'm sure there are. Can you see people? There's people in there.
We're all good. We're all good.
Yes. All we got there. I'm gonna quick look. I had a quick little sneaky little quick. So yeah, tonight, boy, what have we got some great things for you. So, first of all, we've got HALINA RICE on, and I just spoke to her before. And did you any of you see her live stream last Friday? It was awesome. And if you didn't see it, we're gonna look at aspects of it and talk about it. But it was pretty wicked. Well impressed.
Cool,
Just so cool. And yeah, so we're going to talk about that. And also, next week, someone I've talked about a couple of times on here. And let me just check this works, right? So, should do, because my voice shouldn't go off this time. So, you can tell me if it does, Tim, because we're a few seconds ahead of you guys. So, this is... oh, have I done it right? Yeah, there we go. So, next week, we have the Ableton drummer on, and that's Toby. And if you've ever seen any of his presentations, his videos, his website, does some great things. And like tonight, we're talking a lot about live performance and the future of live performance. And Toby's doing great things. Obviously, he's a drummer, and he's looking at ways to use live with drums. But there's so many kind of things he does you can use on all kinds of stuff. He sent me a device that's you can use your drum rack, and rather than just kind of hit one shots, you can run the drum pads in the drum rack as if they were clips, so you can just get them to keep playing, and you can stop and start, which for me is just amazing. If you think about that concept, I'm sure he'll describe it much better. You could have a drum rack, you have 64 pads on your push, and like all be on the drum rack, and they just kind of one channel for each and all that. If you know what I'm talking about, that's just great. So that's there. And something else happened this week. I think you should be... Can you see my browser on the screen, Tim? I think this should be a new feature, what's on Simon's browser. Hopefully there's nothing incriminating on it. Because,
Yeah.
So,
all right, yeah.
So I cheated on Tim, and I went and did this. And this is with Martin Walsh. Anybody who knows Inspiral Carpets from back in their 90s. Martin was, and still is, the bass player for Inspiral Carpets, and we've done stuff over the years together, and this is something we did like over lockdown, and there are currently we've got quite a few tracks, and instead of just releasing them on one EP, Martin got a few of his friends, and in the future ones, a few of my friends, to do remixes of the title track. So this one's called Afterglow. You can see it's on Bandcamp, and it's also on Spotify and Amazon and all that business. The remixes are quite interesting. I would have a listen just for that. There's so many great people on the remixes, like people that have done all sorts of great stuff. There's just check it out. Just go and have a look. And one last thing on here that I was speaking to Tim about this, and also James Tuck, who I think is joining us later in the chat room. This thing, Sonobus, get it while you can, right? So
I like this.
Yeah, no, this is something that I want to show people who are watching, because I want you to try it, right? So it says it on the screen, you can see it. It's I could have myself in the corner there, couldn't I? But it's high quality network audio streaming, but you can actually share. You open it up I'll open it up in live actually. You can see. Let's get out of this. How do we get back? I can't get back. So I'll go back to us there, and I'll show it in live what it is. But I'm not going to demo it because you need to do like a jam, and there's like you've got to set your latency and things like that. So if I share screen, did you make sense of it, Tim? Because we had a little quick go, and it was like.
Yeah. I did. I need to sort out my technical side to support it, don't I? But it's very cool.
It's not so hard, but
no. But in terms of, I was getting it's my control panel for my.
Your
It was looping.
Your claret.
Yeah, clarets. Thank you.
Yeah, claret.
Glad you remembered what it was called.
So I'm just going to drop this on the master. Remind me to turn it off though. So this is all it is. I say all it is, and if you press connect, it basically connects to the internet. I'm not going to. I'll have to press it, I think, to make it do. Let's see what it does. It might just mess everything up. So you got a private group or a public group. And if I go, you can see people, Jazz Europe amateurs, pros, very welcome. And basically, you can jam with people. If I click on one of those, let's just do it and see what happens. There you go.
And we're
live.
We're testing capabilities here, aren't we?
So I think they may be able to hear us and thinking, what are these guys on about? But you can basically.
Hello, Simon.
Oh.
Anand.
Oh, it can hear us. How you doing, man?
Oh, yeah.
Who was speaking?
This is Simon. You're on a webcast, and we're just trying out the Sonobus. And yeah.
What is Simon? Yeah. So what do you play, Simon?
Oh, play all kinds of things. Do you want to hear a little bit of bass playing?
Okay.
We're just doing a quick test, so we won't stick around if that's okay. But whereabouts are you from?
That was interesting.
Where in the world
Where
are
was
you?
it?
Whereabouts are? Can you hear me okay? Maybe they can't hear us. But
strong silent type, right?
I see. So they've got drums and stuff. I can hear it. Well, we're going to say goodbye, and we'll catch you another time. Thanks a lot, guys. Oh, go on. They're going to play for us.
The chances are.
You get it. Anyway, we're going to leave you. Thank you so much, guys. We're going to go. Oh, I feel so rude now.
Chances are that person has not heard a single word that you just said, has been broadcast on a webcast, doesn't have a clue.
And you're going, because he said strong silent type, didn't he? Then I'm like, I think he means me. So, so as you can probably guess, I need to work out how to do this. But what you do, you can you have an input mixer, and you can send a metronome. And I was speaking to James, who's going to join us. Well, he's going to be in the chat room. And he's been trying it. And he said you can set a metronome, you can record it. But basically, you should be able to have a jam in real time with people. So please check it out. It's free. You just go to sonobus.net.
I think, to be honest with you, for me, we couldn't have just sold Sonobus any better. that bloke's voice was smooth as fuck.
Yeah, he was like, hey, we're European jazz, man.
Strong, silent.
Yes, and yeah. Well, so if you want a bit of European jazz, if Ned's in there, just go and shred over it, Ned.
Ned'll make a mockery of it. It'd be great.
Yeah. So, well, anyway, so now you know. But do check it out, guys, and let me know, or let us know, how you went on, because we want to try and do something crazy with the jam thing, and just try if we can all jam, or at least some, I don't know, we'll just try it. But yeah, so I wanted to show you, Tim, something that we talked about.
Go on.
Oh, as James Tuck said he would let us know about 7:45 when he was in.
I've not seen him. He's
well,
late.
he said it'd be about 7:45 because if you remember, guys, when I had my what's now known as the COVID break, on the last one just before Mel joined, we were doing this thing called Share MIDI and Party, which is another way of doing that. And I just spoke to James before, and he's a teacher in a school, and he actually tried it in his classroom the next day, and he was just smashing it. So I said, well, if what he can do when he's online is open it up on his computer and then let me know, and then what I was going to do is let him create a beat on my screen so you could see it, because me and Tim were trying to create it when we had that crash, and I thought we can't show you Tim's screen, so on my screen, whatever. So he's going to do it live. But anyway, we'll see what happens. And anyway, so
hopefully we won't have the same error.
No, I hope not. I hope not. The stream is it says excellent connection. Oh no, I've just done that. It says the stream's current bit rate is
Oh, don't curse it. Don't curse it.
Yeah.
Leave it be.
I've just seen your comments. If you've not seen Ned Rush's latest video, How Not to Make Music in Ableton Live, it should be nominated for some kind of YouTube award because it is absolute class. Honestly, Ned, that was just absolute class. Go and watch it. Just go and I'm not saying
we can't
anything.
spoil it for you. You've got to go and watch it yourself. So anyone that's not gone to Ned's channel and subscribed, please do so. Ned Rush, search Ned Rush, and make sure that you have a nosy at his latest video, How Not to Make Music in Ableton Live. It's just, yeah.
Oh, hi to Alfie as well. I've just seen that Alfie is part of the James Tuck consortium. So, yeah, anyway, right. So I forget because I'm used to doing things on Zoom when I do these things, but I forget I can literally Zoom because I'm doing it this way. So this is something that Tim and I were talking about, and it's very when usually like EDM things where when you've got reverb on a vocal and you can do all sorts of ducking things, and the way that carrying on from last week where we're talking about gating reverbs and stuff like that, you can do all sorts of stuff. So this is something I'm working on, and again it's I've sneaked off from Tim just for a little bit, and this is something I'm doing with Martin, same we were talking about before, and it's a remix for a band called Sea Fever, who got 2 members of New Order in the band, and it's quite interesting. If I got time afterwards, I'll put the link to the track that this is a remix for. You look it up, it's called Cross Wires by Sea Fever. So this is what I'm kind of working on. Let me just bring in the volume. I don't want to blast you. I'm on some... Yeah. Is that all right volume, Tim?
All good. All good.
So, bit of live bass there. And I can hear you typing away there, Tim.
I'm communicating. Yeah.
Oh, are you? Okay, I'll let you off. So just something I did straight away, which I do all the time. If there's a bass line where it's quite staccato, you know, sort of like not too many sustained notes, and it's an electric bass, if I'm going to work with loads of like drum heavy stuff, what I did here was open a sub channel. I mean, obviously operator go to, and I just got the bass. I mean, you can see the rhythm there, but I think I did audio to MIDI. Let me just bring that over there so you can see, and I just copied it, you know, the notes, and just duplicated. So you just get this. I don't know if you can hear it over here, but can you hear that across?
Yeah.
If you can hear it on Zoom, Tim, these lots should be able to hear it. So
very faint.
Yeah. So the idea is it's just a bit of a presence on the low end that isn't on the bass, so I can make this a bit more clangy.
Yeah.
You know, I like this sound here. Just as he lets go of the string. If you listen to this.
Go on. Yeah.
Anyway, so
I was doing a bit of that with Tina Guo, because I investigated that a bit deeper, and you can start getting a bit of Tina with the noises on the finger noises on the fret.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, if you don't know who Tina Guo is, she's the violinist for Hans Zimmer, and she's done a contact library, which Tim shelled out for, and then shared it with me. It's amazing, isn't it? Anyway, so we've got this going on, and this is like one of the samples from the original track. You got, I believe that's a Gretsch the guy plays. I forgot his name. Anyway, so I'm building this this track up, and I've got a few different layers. Let me just move you out of the way, Tim. What we like for time? Oh, we're okay. So we got this. Bit of percussion. Rolling Stones meets Primal Scream, maybe. I don't know.
It's cool as hell, that.
You like it? Are you feeling it, Tim?
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, so that little noise there, this is what I was telling you earlier today when I was on the phone to you. What I've done here, just rubbish sound, by the way. Let me just hide meeting info. I don't want to do that. It just gets in the way. Well, anyway, so on this one that says here, what I did, I just did a load of 16th notes. And this is to introduce the idea about this ducking out the way musically.
Yeah.
As if you're like, for those of you who didn't know this, it's just kind of like the concept of live and session view. When I talk to somebody, like explaining what live's all about and what session view is. Session view originally came obviously from like having a mixing desk and using it as an instrument. It was inspired by sort of Lee Scratch Perry and people like a lot of the dub reggae guys who were kind of using the mixing desk as an instrument. And obviously, back in the day before automation and stuff like that, you had to do it physically. So what this having gates and, ducking chain compression and stuff like that does a lot of that for you. And it's kind of what Ableton was all about as well, the Ableton Live. When they first, Gerhardt first started it off, that was kind of what they were trying to do. So long story, but I'll get to the point. So what I've done here, I just made a load of 16th notes. And I think I used a wavetable and I just changed it to, it's still on that. So if I just play this sound, this is what it's doing. I purposely didn't make it, some sort of sound design thing. But if I just turn the gate off, and then if I go into it, or just use something else, it's just basically going because of the decay so long on this. Yeah, it's just going to do that. So what I did, I put a gate on there, and this was what I was talking to you about, Tim, that rather than do it with a physical automation and just ducking it out. So this isn't the sound I'm going to use, but the idea is that if you use the sidechain, the gate, so that when the bass is playing, as soon as the bass stops, it allows this sound to come through because I've used it as a sidechain. Does that make sense? So when so if I play it now, you should get, there's the bass playing. And if I did it with the sidechain, it'd just do the opposite. You know what I mean? It's just like it'd do it down. But I flipped that. Sorry, I flipped that so that it does do that. If I did it the other way around, it would play when the bass plays. Sorry, just rewind. Yeah. So I've got the gate right.
That bit in reverse.
Yeah, reverse. So I've got the sidechain so that when the signal comes through, it'll allow the meh to come through, right? Which will just sound nuts. It'll go. And the whole point was, what I'm going to show you next is all about flipping it. So what it's going to do now, it's similar to the way that you would do sidechain compression, but what I'm doing now is flipping it. So when the sound stops, it allows it to come through. The opposite. Okay. That makes sense?
Yeah. It all made sense anyway, mate. But you were like, I could see you fretting for a minute and going,
I've just completely described it the opposite, and it's wrong, and no one will ever talk to me again. Okay, so that's what that was about. So then when we get to here, I do like that bass line.
Yeah.
And I believe you like this harmonica.
Oh, I always love a bit of harmonica.
So here's the vocal.
Crushed up,
verse 1.
Crawl on, flushed out until the habit's gone.
Okay, so it's dry.
Yeah.
I've got it on the send
like
day.
it.
So this is what we were talking about, right? So if I put, did you prefer the reverb or delay, Tim? Delay.
I like the delay.
Delay it is.
I like the delay. Let's do the delay.
So this was something I saw it on one of the forums as well, that I post the link to this show. I don't think anybody from that forum ever attends this thing, but and someone was asking about when you've got a delay and you want to just capture a certain note at the end. And obviously you got to use automation, but they were automating turning the delay on. And if you turn it on and it's like doesn't catch the beat, you don't get the full delay. So the idea is just keep the delay on all the time, and obviously automate dry and wet or the send. Well, this was something that if it's in the mix and you want to keep it clear, so it just kind of sounds decent. So what you did, I've got this, so it's on Sende, the vocal Vox. I've got this Vox channel, Sende.
Crushed up, crawl on, flushed out until the habit's gone.
So it's on all the time, and it's still there now. So what you can do is if you put a compressor or a gate side-chained to the original vocal, when the original vocal's on, the side chain, if it's a compressor, it will duck the level of the delay until it lets go, until you let it disappears. Now, although people say, oh, you just sidechain it using compressor, but when you do it with the gate and you flip it round, I just like it. So this is, I will turn the gate on and I'll put the flip up opposite so that it
Crushed up, crawl on, flushed out.
So now the delay's on when the vocal's there.
say that again.
The delay's there when the vocal is there.
Yeah, that's it. So when it goes, and it just comes through. But what you can do is you can then move the controls, like the attack is literally how fast it happens, hold how long it stays around and release. You can adjust these. But if you flip it around, then you can kind of just get the opposite. So
Crushed up,
if I move the threshold,
on, flushed out until
I had a little cheeky freeze then. Did you notice? It froze.
No,
Anyway, so, well, good. If you go like this,
crushed up, crawl on.
so it's not, it needs to, you can see the graphics well on the, it'll come through now.
Until the habit's gone, cracked skies, cave in.
So if I flip it now, when it stops, it should come through. Let's try it.
Crushed up, crawl on, flushed out until the habit's gone, cracked skies, cave in. Tough shout to where the fun begins. Crushed up.
So obviously you then need to try it in context and play it and move it around, but it kind of saves you drawing in loads of automation. I don't know, try it. It works different ways, different things, but
no, it says that because it's just that you're creating the space in the mix, but you presumably, or in most cases, you're only going to have to be adjusting your threshold and return once, aren't you? And then
and in this case, I just put it on ping pong just to see if it works in stereo on YouTube as well. But and I've got the left and right, the same time, and so I've not messed around with that and the feedback. I just had it so it didn't keep going anyway. But I'll just play it in context. Get the idea, but I mean, you just got to get rhythmically. I would probably have. I might even use echo to get it a bit more rhythmically, sort of thing.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. But anyway, that's what I meant by sort of like you can use the side chainable Ableton devices to kind of make something happen, and it's kind of lots of these little tricks, if you use them in a better example than I'm doing, they're just great. You can just record that for ages and just record it onto another track, resample it or whatever, which I know is something that Halina's going to be showing us as well, because it's all like about jamming, experimenting, and just getting the right thing. So did James? Is James about? Is he in the chat room?
I've not seen him so
no,
far.
Okay.
No.
Well, we'll try that. But if any of you've did actually watch the one about the Share Medium Party, what we were actually on about is this device. And if I just find it, I think you got to put it on it's obviously a MIDI channel. I'll just plonk it on here. So we tried this in episode 5, I believe, and where is it? There it is. So we would have the receiver, wouldn't we? So if I put that there, he's still there.
I'm still
I
here.
think I had a crash then, so at least we did it on something like that. So it crashed. I don't know why. So yeah. Anyway, so what it is, it's a MIDI. Just ignore that. It's a MIDI. I'll just stop share while it opens. A MIDI plugin that allows you to. Oh, hang on, I need to recover. Yes, recover. I don't need to anyway. Halina's going to be on shortly. So, yeah, James is there. I'll be here in a minute. But yeah, we're going to. What did you say? Hi, mate. I'll be tuning around 7:45. I put a sender called low. Oh, he's done it. He's done it. Right. Okay. The only thing is now though that I don't want it to crash again. So, yeah,
it seems to push it that for some reason, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I
know you've got a lot going on with your 2 computers that you've got running there.
Well, what I'd probably do is I wouldn't put it into a set with all sorts of routing shenanigans, but he's just said he's done it. So let me do it. I'm going to get rid of this.
Do it.
We'll just do it. So James just messaged me, and he has got a sender called Low Free. Okay, haha. No, I'm gonna try it, James. If you're still on, I'm gonna try it. Let's just if it does it again, I'm not playing. I don't know what it is. Yeah, well, okay. Yeah, ignore.
Well, we're not selling that very well.
No, we're not selling it. Okay, I don't know why.
3 times it's failed.
Well,
on us.
Yeah, but I'm using the beta, and it's the latest one. Maybe there's some issue that they've not, thought about that far enough ahead. So. Yeah, no, he's giving me the thumbs up, but if he's... sorry, mate. But we want to try these things. We're trying to push the envelope, aren't we? Anyway. Incredible timing, Halina. So, we got Halina Rice, doing great things. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you her latest single, and we'll get her in. And this is called Breaks. So, what you're going to see is like her latest single, and... she performed this. She's going to tell you all about it anyway. And it's like virtual space. And the video is kind of like that style. So I'm going to put this in now. So this is Breaks by Halina Rice. See you shortly. right, guys. So hopefully you should be hearing us all good. And welcome, Halina Rice. Woo, woo, woo.
Hi.
Hello,
Amazing.
Halina.
Great to have you on. So Tim and I both saw your performance on Friday. And for those who didn't see it, go check it out. We're going to put a link in the chat room. And we'll put a link to Halina's YouTube because pretty much the whole performance is on there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great.
Awesome. So I do strongly check it out. If you're interested in the visuals, it's amazing. The music.
To be honest, I think we'll probably already have people hitting those links from the response. People are going off a little bit. So yeah, it's going a good response, Alina.
Yeah, wicked. Oh, good. Yeah, awesome. I'm gonna find her on Spotify. Do it. Yeah. All this 3D environment stuff is far out. Yeah, Ned Rush was in there as well, tagging the walls. So let's hear it from our guests. Let's not us yabber on about how amazing it was, but it's so tell us a little bit about what happened on Friday and the kind of how you got there, and then go back.
Sure, it's probably good to sort of go back to the beginning of where I started with kind of audio and visuals. So when I first started performing live in 2016, I would perform. I had a guy called VJ Mowgli, who's a really great visuals guy, and I used to run some kind of audio reactive abstract visuals just direct from my laptop. So I'd have Ableton live, and I'd have Resolume, and there'd be a little send that would go from one of the tracks on Session View and Ableton Live and trigger messages going back into Resolume. So that was a great sort of first solution for doing live visuals. But then, and Simon will remember this, in 2017, I won a sampling contest with Ableton, which got me a free trip to Loop in Berlin, which was just one of the most fantastic experiences I've had. And the closing show was No Such Thing and a digital artist called Kujiro Takahashi. And I just couldn't work out. We were watching these guys on stage who were playing, but they were in real time, moving in a digital environment, but behind them. And it was mind blowing at the time. And it just sort of went into my head, and I just thought about that a lot. Then I had been working with a motion designer called Jan Petirek. So when I was at Point Blank studying, he was at the Royal College of Art, and we did some video work together. He's based in Prague. Wow. And then he suggested in 2019 that we start kind of building a live show together. And we took like a prototype where he was working at the time in Blender, but we're also looking at Unity. And we did that sort of a little mini hacked together show at Abbey Road Studios. We had the opportunity to play out, which was quite a cool experience.
Abbey Road.
Yeah.
Abbey Road.
And then obviously we were kind of looking to take that into live venues and develop it further, and then lockdown happened. But it kind of clearly tallied, because we were like, well, okay, we're thinking about building these 3D environments. And then I was remembering all this stuff that we'd seen at Loop with the stuff by Kujiro Takahashi. So, and we just went back and we watched the videos again. How are these guys doing it? And we realized that they were using a Connect. He actually uses 3 Connects that are kind of mapped together. So effectively,
the Xbox Connect.
Yeah, that's right. They're taking like a point cloud mapping of the body, and then they're using something to translate that into a Unity 3D project. So so I bought a Connect off eBay, and then I had to find someone who could knit the two together, because it's a bit of a specialist skill. Yeah. So I put a brief out on a freelance website, and really this agency in Armenia picked it up. Who said, "Be great guys." They belong to an agency called X-Tech Virtual Solutions. They do a lot of gaming work, and they help sort of create the basic file, which means that while I'm performing, can be mapped by a Connect and placed sort of in real time with movement into the Unity file. And from that, Jan and I can kind of experiment on all sorts of different iterations, basically. And obviously lockdown, it's kind of like, well, this is the time to do the virtual live streaming. So kind of heard about it, saw lots of people that I knew kind of going into the space, and the words sort of OBS being floated around, and it's like, okay, got to take the leap and go and learn about those bits of software as well, and learn how to do it. So so sort of, maybe if I share my screen and
give us a little insight. But it's so fascinating. So you actually just sought out, so that you literally went to the Gemba, the person who know the most about this rendering in real time stuff, and just you put it out there. Yeah, I need some help with this, and And Armenia, yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's right. And they're really great guys, really, really supportive, and they kind of, you know, took down the price a little bit because they were just kind of inspired by working on the project. So yeah.
Good.
So can you see my screen? Okay.
Yes, we can. Yeah. I'm not sure how it'll translate through here, but we've shared the link, so if people want to check this out afterwards, maybe just you know, just it's a good visual aid. So
basically, here's me in my house, and just in front of me by about a meter is a Kinect camera that's mapping me, and then that's being translated into the Unity project with effects over the top. So it's taking a point cloud of me and mapping the effects, and then the camera angle. So Jan built this big sort of cityscape, and then maps the kind of camera angle moving through it quite sort of cinematically. So the magic that X-Tech put in is making sure that I don't just move with the camera, I'm moving with the project, as it were.
Right. Is it running on 2 computers? Yeah. Have you got?
That's right. Yeah. So basically, I have to go. It's just too much, you know, visually overload for me to be able to handle on the MacBook as well. So I have got a high spec PC. So I have to kind of run the sound through a couple of sound cards into the PC at the moment, and then the PC has the visuals and OBS, and also restream, so we can go to multiple channels at the same time.
Oh, check you! We're just doing the one this evening, you know. Wicked. That's really good.
So, so we'd done this like initially, just to show you. This is the first track that we'd done. Was the first track that I self-released. So that was the other part of the journey this year, was starting to self-release from the middle of last year. So actually in September was Spheres came out, and then I've basically done a track every sort of 2 or 3 months. So Spheres, then Terrain came out in January, and Breaks is just now. And we kind of visualized it as a sort of series, so a new world series. So each one has its own visual environment, and each one I did a virtual stream for. So in this one, we had altering and changing effects, and that aesthetic is then matched into the video aesthetic as well. So it's kind of tied together. Similarly for Terrain, we kind of created this island where I'm kind of just sort of floating above it, and there's kind of 2 of me, which you'll see in a minute as it pans back and flips over. And then in my live setup, I'm using Ableton Push and the Roland SP DSX drum pads. What I'll generally do is I'll have a lot of the audio's bounced already, but then there's kind of additional sounds and live sampling that's going on over the top.
It just looks nice.
It's amazing. It's really good. So when this is the live show, isn't it? So you've got like a video version that's just like a kind of already pre-rendered version, but this now your movements are tracked in that environment, so you're moving around, and this like rendered background texture stuff now is like the landscape, if you like. That's the bit that your visuals guy helped to design that journey around. Is that right? How it works?
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly right. And each time we sort of try and get a little bit more ambitious with the project. So the last thing we did actually, as a friend of mine, a developer, who we said what we really like to do now is get audience interaction, because this is all very well, but is there something that people watching it can do to interact with the visuals? And he just noted that there was some code available, which means that you can type stuff live into the Twitch chat room.
Okay.
And it will affect the visuals immediately. So we brainstormed some ideas, and the winner was that we get people to graffiti tag themselves. So you may have just noticed this little tag changed here. Yeah. This tag's about to change. So effectively, as long as people wrote !tag me in Twitch, it sends a message back into Unity, because we've united Unity to chat. Okay. And you can see, is it Gubbo? I don't know who Gubbo 111 is, but he's now, or she's now tagged in the video in real time. And when we did this last Friday, that's the first time we did it, and almost it's kind of, we kept it really simple, but now we've made that connection. It's kind of like, whoa, what else can we do with live audience interaction? So yeah, so
that's great. I suppose you could have pictures and things like that, couldn't you? And
create avatars, all sorts of things. And there's a lot of companies experimenting in this space, and some of them are, this is what we've got, I guess, mixed reality. It's not strictly VR or AR, but you know, there's a lot of companies that are doing also virtual stuff. There's people green screening as well, but doing quite complex stuff with green screening. So this is a little bit different, and again, it's we're not necessarily married to all the technology. There's other things that we like to try with it. And the next big thing, now that we, you know, fingers crossed, live opening back up again, is to actually take this into a real space. So I've started kind of putting feelers out to look at spaces that we can do with really big projection walls and create something more of an immersive experience for audiences, both live there but also able to join remote. So it becomes a kind of hybrid event. So
I mean, to be at the next real life loop would be a good one, wouldn't it? That would be a good goal. Go full circle and just rejoin the next loop.
Yeah.
Well, if you keep going like this, I'm sure. I mean, the mad thing about this as well, I mean, the visuals look amazing, but the actual music's pretty good as well.
I know that's the one aspect we're not getting.
Yeah, we need to look at that. So yeah, let's talk us a little bit about the music, because without a doubt you've really put the effort and time into making that look and just be this. I think the live show thing is probably, I think we said this when we had a quick chat the other day, and there's a few people that have, you know, almost benefited from the lockdown, that you had to change your thinking as an artist and kind of, you know, what can I do? I mean, obviously it was hard for a lot of people, especially financially, but I think that headspace, you know, I think I had some space available to just kind of think, what can I do with music? And there's so many things. I mean, I tried all sorts, but it was still hard work with the kids being off school and all that kind of thing. But I think you've obviously used that time well. It just looks great. But so let's talk about the music that's going on here. Just give us a little, just pump up, see if it comes through on there, and just, which track is this one? Yeah, I love that guitar. Is it a guitar like whammy bar thing? There's a few songs in here. Oh, you'll have to just nip the volume down a little bit. Yeah, my fault asking you a question as you play it. I've been wanting to ask you about that guitar. So.
I think if you think about this track, for instance, it's probably a good example of the things that I'll mix. So the bass line is produced on this. So someone very, very kindly gave me this Roland SEO2 Studio and Studio Electronics little analog boutique synthesizer.
Whoa, that's cool.
It's really, it's super cool, because it both generates really nice analog sounds, but it also has digital settings. So if you find a patch that you really like, you can just sort of stick it into the memory banks and it'll just recall it automatically, rather than having to sort of fiddle around too much with settings. So a lot of bass lines have been generated on that. For terrain, all the sort of main synth lines were generated through that little synth as well. And there's something nice about being able to kind of hands-on manipulate and modulate the sounds as you go. So then just take audio recordings of that and kind of play around with them. And then you'll hear a lot of like stretched audio in the back here. So that's me singing, but through Paul Stretch, which is an extreme sound plugin, which it just seems like one of those underground things, but that everyone seems to know about. So it's a sort of funny, awkward little program, but it can stretch sounds up to sort of 10,000 times. But it has a really lovely way of reproducing those sounds so that everything sounds a little bit cathedral-like and quite grand. So there was that, and then there's a couple of samples. I use samples from sample libraries and affect them, change them, add multiple effects, etc. So that's probably a fair representation of how I work.
That sounds great. So I know you've got some some nice little techniques for vocal production. Are you okay to show us that? Yeah. And I'll let you do some screen sharing stuff and take that off and do that because it's moving things around. But yeah, there you go.
Okay, so good. You can see my screen okay?
Yep, all looks good. Yeah, just check one of the just some sound. Just check some sound. See what it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. Can you hear it, Tim, as well? Is that all right there?
We're all good.
Yeah, we're okay here. But our viewers in the chat room always let us know if it doesn't sound right, don't we? So they're all good. And they just saying a little update what they say in the chat room. Ned's saying hybrid events are the future for sure. Inspiration on viewer interaction with Unity. It's a really weird stream, but Code Miko on Twitch has really tight integration of the chat into the visuals. So that's good. Oh. Thanks for that, Josh. Just this is great. All these people are. Oh, Sarunas is in the house. How you doing, man? What country are you in right now? But yeah, we need to catch up, Sarunas. Hope you're well, pal. It's a man and Tim's friend, and he's Lithuanian. I don't know where he is right now. You don't have to tell us in the chat. It's okay. He's not on the run or anything.
Keep it secret.
Yeah, keep it secret. But yeah, so I mean, it's good that that they're giving us some examples there. But yeah, so obviously you're a live user. That's probably technically how we know each other. But I mean, you were at Loop and you did you came along to the We Are Robots. I remember you being there, and you was it's quite clear now that you were kind of looking at all these things and finding how you were going to do your thing. So yeah, well done, because I've seen you on your journey, and it's just really cool to see with this amazing kind of body of work with like this great. So anyway, I'll just let you talk now because it's I know what you're going to do, and it just sounded great to me. I'll shut up.
So I was just going to demonstrate like two of my kind of favorite plugins at the moment, which with particularly like a mind to altering vocal samples. So one is the Mangle and the other is Morph. So the Mangle is effectively a granulator synthesizer stroke sampler. And just to give a little bit of an idea, here's just the kind of default setting. Now you've got a kind of guitar sample going on, and you can affect various of the parameters. So for instance, I can bring the rate that the grains are generated down, so I can make those really slow. Really slow.
That's neat.
I can change the pitch. And I can change the length of the grains as well. I'm shorter and longer.
Nice.
Run them backwards. And then.
That's cool.
And also I can change the amplitude. I can vary the amplitude, and I can vary the position within the sample. You can also affect each of these parameters with envelopes as well, just by clicking and dragging. So it's a really, we were saying earlier, Simon, that this is really friendly interface for.
Yeah, what did you say about it? Was big button something? What did you say?
It was a bit like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, like friendly letters that say "Don't panic."
Yeah,
I need them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So if I show, like, for instance, to affect a vocal sample I'm working on at the moment, so this is the sample that, again, it's just a sample from Splice. Every day, and
yeah, it's quite rich, though, isn't it?
It's dirty, that last note as well. Oh, just it drops down right on the left. Yeah, I like it.
So it's really easy just to drop that into the interface. In fact, if I just reset it to its original, drop that in again. It sounds a little bit intense when I start. It's doing all sorts of things with the pitch, so I'm just going to take the envelope off there. Take the length down.
Oh yeah, we're in. We're in.
And if I think I want to bring the pitch down, but if I bring the pitch down, it's going to take it down quite a long way. And that's because the pitch is locked at the moment to being in octaves and fifths. So I can take the pitch lock off and just adjust that. So the sort of sweet spot I found was just to take it down a little bit. And so once I've done that, I then sort of have a sandpit and I'll just start recording, minutes of audio. So that was all a little bit too intense. This one was like getting a little bit closer to what I wanted it to sound like.
Yeah, it's good rhythm, that, isn't it?
And then this was the one where I thought, yeah, there's something in that. I really like that. And just to enhance that sound a little bit, I've added a couple of plugins. So if I just play it with, first of all, Echo Boy Chorus.
Lush.
And then also this, Sound Toys, a little bit of this smile curve EQ and roll off other frequencies. And then really, if you kind of play those with Ableton, so.
Oh,
We're in.
we're going. Swinging that.
This kind of worked kind of nicely together. So I was like, oh, great.
Yeah, there's your track. There it is. That is a groove. I mean, it's a groove, and the texture's just lovely. Yeah.
So yeah. So now I just need to go and make the rest of the track.
Well, you're off to a good start, I think.
Yeah. So can I just ask you before you show us the next bit? I was like, because this is like the whole psychological battle that everyone has. Like, to me, that is like there's a lot there, and that's probably like the core of the track, or the main drop, or the first bit. What would you do next? You don't have to go into detail, but what would you do next? Would you start to arrange it, or would you look for extra layers?
I would definitely look for alternative and sort of the sounds that are going to alternate with it, or kind of complement it in some ways. So try and stay in the kind of sandpit until I've got maybe more than enough to play with.
Yeah.
Before kind of getting it together and then arranging it, and then I'll go through quite a lot of iterations of arrangement and mixing. Right,
good. Yeah. And would you say you're quite disciplined with that?
I don't know. I don't know what sort of standard approach is.
Well, that's a good question, to be fair, Halina. It's like, well, that's something me and Simon are like, we're getting down to now. We've been getting down to for a while, but it's like getting the tracks over the line. So what we're getting at is essentially like, if you can stay too long in that one place, can't you? Sticking layer over layer over layer. But it's where do you draw that line? Because it's also the enjoyable bit of it, like everything together and getting the ideas down.
It's also good to book the mastering.
See, there you go. See, so
like that.
I like that. You see, so I think not the only time, apart from when I was in bands and doing stuff where you could be quite quick and a bit more embryonic. I think a deadline. I think the first tracks I finished since I've been older and not in bands were when I had a deadline. Remixes, as soon as you like remixing with someone, they're like, "Oh, when can you have it done by?" And it's like, there is an element of commitment that. So yeah, but that's book the mastering. There you go, Tim. That's it.
That's what we need to do.
There you go. There's the answer, everyone. Book the mastering. There you go. We got it out of you. So yeah, sorry. Carry on as you were.
So the next plugin I was going to show is this thing called Morph. So the mangle's really cheap. It's only like 20 quid. Morph is actually about 150 quid. But it's a really, really interesting plugin. And I don't think I've seen anything that's similar. And effectively, they describe it as it's a real-time plugin for structural audio morphing. It morphs the sonic equivalent of one object to become a different object. So effectively, what you've got is you have two sound sources that are kind of taking characteristics from each other. And it's not just as simple as kind of panning between the two sounds. They're actually kind of literally morphing into each other. So just to demonstrate in the first instance, these are two samples that I'm going to morph together. So one is this female loop, and the other is this sort of choral pad. Moving through different chords. And then if I switch on morph, you can see that it's got like an XY pad, which is going to enable me to kind of move around how much is coming from one sample, how much is coming from the other sample. You can also process it in different ways, and you can add reverb. But if I just play those two together, so effectively this track is sidechained into this plugin, and it's ascend only, so it's all coming out of this track.
Right.
But at the moment, down here, we're just hearing sample A. If I went over here, we just hear sample B.
Right.
But then as I start to move up the XY pad, starts to take characteristics of both.
That's cool.
Ooh.
That's very cool.
It just goes straight ooh, which was just on one tone, and suddenly taking all this chordal information. So yeah, so that's.
Well, I'm off with that, especially because I really like that the top choir sample that you showed us. That's like right up my street. But then when you blended them both together as well, because it's taken on some of the harmonic and tonal qualities, it's kind of shifted almost the melody within it, hasn't it? But
it totally had, yeah, and there's something about the quality of her voice is a little sharper than that choral pad, so it's sort of actually heightened. It sort of brings higher frequencies to that, so it's kind of made it overall a sort of more interesting sound, I guess. So I just built just another example, but also to show that it doesn't have to be vocal sound, it doesn't have to be melodic. It could be rhythmic and sound and noise and anything really. So again, if I just
Can I just ask you before you go on to that? Sorry to interrupt, but did you know that those were in a compatible key harmonically?
No, not at all.
Right.
Yeah, so basically, I think, as I was saying, it's you can end up in a bit of a whatever it's called, like a rabbit hole of lining up every sample you've ever known on each track and going, well, what about with this one? What about with this one before hours or days have passed?
Right, because they work very well together, definitely.
Yeah, so here's one I made earlier, but so another interesting one. So this is a vocal sample. And then this sample is actually, I'm going to play it on this track so you can hear it. So that's from a Ghost Syndicate pack. And again, if I start playing them together and switch more on, just bring that up here. Let's start with this.
Oh yeah.
Just add in a little bit of texture. Kind of, and here, by the way, there's also a formant shifter that's been applied to it here, so that's also in.
What is that part of the plugin, or have you done that?
it's part of the plugin, so it's also some of the presets will have to. So that's just sort of two of my favourite plugins right now.
That's just awesome. I think there's quite a lot going on. I think the actual sounds that you've chosen are really good in the first place, and the way that those like morph, it literally is morphing them. I've seen other plugins that claim to do that, but that really does do that, doesn't it?
Yeah, and maybe that's why that was a little bit more expensive, because it's just got nicer kind of algorithms going on in the background to process it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're getting some nice comments here. Wow, lush. Oh my, this is sick. That's why all these things are going through my head, guys. The time music is so in my wheelhouse. Felix says, yeah, it's what is that vocal? Says Sarunus. It's a sample, yeah, from.
It's a sample, yeah, just a sample from Spice.
Yeah, don't be ever shy of using samples, because this is what I was saying to Halina before, that even though she's showing this plugin with this sample, we'd all just approach it a very different way. But that's neat. That's so nice.
While I was thinking through that the last couple of samples,
yeah, I could see your cogs turning.
Which is an amazing compliment that I can pay to it. Was it's a good job that me and Simon didn't have those two samples and that morphing thing when we were writing our latest track that we're working on now, Society Failure, because we had this idea of like quite an Eastern
in the first verse,
in the first bit of it, and that I was just like, well, we'd be ripping that.
Yeah.
We don't do that kind of thing.
No. Maybe we should get in the queue for a Halina Rice remix.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's what we need to do. We'll see. But yeah, that's sounding brilliant. So, have you got time to show us the Paul stretch thing?
I couldn't. The only thing is I tried it just before this, and it was making some really weird noises. But I can try it, and it.
Yeah, no stress if you can't. I mean, I'm happy to take that as with us, because that's so cool. It really is like, and so just I'm sort of probing into your creative process, which you've given us quite an idea there, but. When it comes to building the beats, what do you prefer to kind of sort of curate? Well, you've done that there. You've like curated the sounds together. Because how do you kind of go about the beats, the sort of design as well? Because I think it's something that we spend maybe sometimes not enough time, and sometimes we spend too much time trying to get the sound right. And it's like, you seem to have a nice process. So when it comes to drums, what do you use, like samples and cutting them up, or what's your you don't have to show us, it's because it's like obviously it takes time, but
this is loads more simple. This is sort of demo style for so generally speaking, I would often have multiple kind of drum racks and be loading up samples into them. Some some of them are cut from other places. Some of them are straight kind of samples that I'm taking from whichever sample library, etc., or from battery or something on those lines.
Oh, you use battery,
yeah. And then just spending a lot of time kind of moving stuff around in MIDI. And in fact, that's probably then the next step is to find ways. I mean, the other thing I do is I'll use songs and then put them through Buffer Shuffler.
We love Buffer Shuffler. Yeah,
just to try and, so particularly the album I released in 2017, there's a lot of Buffer Shuffler on that, just to kind of cut the beats up and make them a little bit more unpredictable. But yeah, I'm someone that tends to sort of treat things, then treat them again, then treat them again, and then add some more plugins and press all the buttons. So
that sounds great. Yeah, just to let Tim, Buffer Shuffler, Tim, is the Max for Live one where you can just get it to just reverse slices and things like that. It's you'll recognize it if you see it. It's one of the Max for Live. It's been around, like I said, for about 4 years or something like that, 4 or 5 years. But it's nifty. It's nifty indeed. But yeah, wicked. I'm just seeing if there's anybody got any questions that they wanted to. You get a lot of compliments, and people are saying some nice things about the Ableton, this channel and what we're doing. So that's good. But yeah. Somebody just said, I learned almost everything I know about Ableton from here, lol. Connell, that's amazing. That's really, really, thanks for that. So I mean, I think the thing is we've had such a high caliber of guests. You know, we've really, you know, had these insights and stuff. But yeah, I mean, just a couple of questions that I wanted to know is sort of like your journey into music. Did you play an instrument, or were you a music fan that kind of got into production? What was your kind of, because I know you got a keyboard behind you there, and it's like looks like it's got a few keys on it. So
yeah. So I was originally a pianist. So piano was my first instrument. We had one in the house. No one really played it, but both my grandmothers played the piano. With one of them kindly bought us a piano. So I just kind of took to it a bit more. My brother kind of took to the drums and guitar more, and I was more piano. So I did piano through school, I did at A-level, and I did first year of university. But I think in that time university, there's a lot of classical musicians, and I actually thought, you know, we had to write sort of pieces of series music and stuff, and I just felt like I wasn't really good enough to do music. That, you know, there are a lot of technically great, actually trained musicians, which is fantastic, but maybe they just didn't seem. I didn't see the path to doing it. So I got another job and did that for a very, very long time, but sort of dabbled or tinkered in the background. I was in a couple of bands. I was in a David Bowie tribute band for a little while, doing key, and a sort of post-punk band for a while. But then eventually, when I sort of kind of had a whole career in kind of marketing and digital. I was like, I really want to put tracks into something. I bought a couple of DAWs before. I bought Cubase before, and I just couldn't. It was just too complicated. Like, if you're complete from the outside, and I don't think there was even so many kind of YouTube tutorials then. And I just found a school. I found Point Blank. I just signed up for a 3-month part-time evening class on Introduction to Music Production. I was doing a full-time job, and literally within days, I just found that I was either working or doing music production. Just 100% loved it. It turned out to be the basis for the foundation for the diploma. So I just signed up on a whim, and then after like a couple of years, I quit my job.
That's awesome.
And was lucky enough. I got signed by an independent label to do the first album. Blurred Recordings, which are part of a bigger sync music agency. So I kind of had that. I was doing little bits of sync work and writing music for sort of short film, etc. Released the album. It didn't really sort of do massive amounts, and then had a little bit of a hiatus for various reasons. And then, you know, lockdown occurred, and it was kind of like, okay, now's the time.
Right.
That's when I went to self-releasing and starting to do a lot more active self-promotion as well. And learn everything about distribution and all that malarkey. So
I suppose the digital marketing and things like that is kind of, it's all come full circle and worked, especially with because I know a lot of like self-releasing, like, you know, we've done stuff, and it's so demanding and hard. I think you were talking before about track lists and things, like all these things that people just think, yeah, it just happens, but the energy soakers, aren't they, and take you away from the real thing that you want to do is making music. So I feel your pain, you know, I really do. But that sounds awesome. So what's next? What's the next phase?
Thing.
I mean, you mentioned to try and put this in a bigger space.
So those are the discussions we're kind of having at the moment. There's I belong to a community called The Rattle, who've been super supportive. I have some interesting contacts to. There's a guy who looks at empty things like retail spaces, which is obviously something that there's more of now, empty building use, and sometimes it's good to have arts and music in those spaces. It helps the local community, it helps bring traffic to the area, etc. So we're looking at proposing to take over a space or spaces to do a live show. So that would be awesome if that could happen. And potentially I've done single releases so far, but potentially I might just sort of take a bit of a break, proper writing break, and then do a sort of larger body of work and really kind of put a kind of bigger push but behind that and have that as the basis for a new live show.
Awesome. Well, we certainly look forward to hearing that. and seeing that and going writing on walls and whatever you come up with next. But that's really wicked. Thank you so much for showing us all this, because it really has been an insight, and it's just so interesting. And you know, lots of people in the chat room. I'm just looking. Felix saying thank you so much for sharing. Thanks for sharing with us, Halina. Just loads of Morph looks incredible. Yeah, just loads of things. If I've missed anything, Tim, just let me know, because I have to keep switching between. Do you use OBS, Halina, when you're doing your thing?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I've been using it. It's fallen on us a few times, hasn't it, Tim? Because what we're doing here is we've got the Zoom and then going from another computer, and if we don't get any like sort of frame changes, it freaks out. So I kept doing this, like just switching the camera across to other people, so it kind of mixed up, because there's no frames moving. The YouTube starts to say, what? There's no frames moving. If you're just going directly to YouTube with something that's constantly moving. But yeah, it's been a bit hit and miss, but it held up when you was on. So I think we should quit while we're ahead. We should quit while we're ahead. But yeah, thanks so much for coming on, and anything that you do, make sure we'll let me know, and we'll always share it. And all you guys listening, get over to Halina's YouTube. Tim's posted it a couple of times.
We've been pushing the link in the
like
chat.
and subscribe.
But guys, make sure you get over to Halina's channel, subscribe on there, and make sure that you go over to Simon Lyon Music channel, as well as subscribing to this Ableton channel. You know, you make sure you get all the content, and you're letting us know that you like what we're doing. We're going to do it anyway. It's really nice to know that you like what we're doing. So. Yeah.
And is there a Lostlight YouTube channel as well?
Oh, we're plug central now. We might as well be an advertising company. I'll put that in there as well. So we'll get you over to mine and Simon's original material, which is on our Lostlight channel. We'll throw you over that as well.
Yeah, that would be great. So all different kinds of music, and it's just going to be a great night for music listeners, isn't it? So we'll leave you to it, Halina. Thank you so much
Thanks again, Halina.
And,
amazing.
Yeah, just wow. We'll play out with breaks. I'll put it on again and let people have another listen. And I do recommend watching the live show, like I did on Friday night. Just chilled after work, and it was 8 o'clock as well. It was just at the right time. Nice. Well, thank you so much again, Halina. We're going to play out with breaks, and it's been great to have you on. Thank you so much.
See you guys.
Let's do it.